Thank you.
Helicopter.
How are you finding the day so far?
Lovely.
This very enjoyable. I did my first ever con at MCM Birmingham.
And me too. Yeah, but
And
not
so
the
it's
same one.
nice to be back.
There's a popular fan theory that Leon, after he drank from the chalice, became immortal. Do you agree with that? And what do you think he's up to? Do you think he's keeping Merlin company while he waits for Arthur?
I do agree with it. I mean, I don't really, but I like the theory. So I think actually it's probably not true, but I like to think it is true, which doesn't answer the question. But I like to think he is. I'd like to think he's causing havoc. Really, I like the idea that actually when he doesn't quite take over Camelot, but he's very good at being the number two, not the leader. So I like the idea that he gets together with Gwen, and then he just drinks too much, and then the power goes to his head, and
to get him usurped.
Yeah, and him and Percival hang out and have a great time, but it kind of collapses in a glorious way. It becomes much more entertaining. Not more.
Camelot Party Central.
A little bit Party Central, and then I think then he has to get clean, and then and then he decides he gets his mojo back. And
taking
saves
that Camelot opium again.
Yeah, changed his name to Lancelot because we didn't have one. No, not Lancelot. Was the other one, Galahad.
I think that he is immortal, and he's just him and Merlin just sat there just crying, waiting for Arthur to come out of that lake.
Now what?
So long. But anyway, that's why I don't write television.
Do you think Mordred's future was set from the very beginning, or do you think if perhaps Merlin had been a bit nicer, they might have got on and he wouldn't have killed Arthur?
It wasn't necessarily they didn't get on. I think they did get on, but they were always at each other's head. No, I think it was that term that they kept using in season 5. The die is cast. That was the tagline to season 5. So I think the minute Mordred's in, becomes more part of the Camelot life. I think he was destined to always reveal to Morgana who Emrys was and put his sword through Arthur. I mean, because the show was, what was great about the TV show was that it used the legends that were written and spun it off in its own direction. But if you have to think about Mordred and Arthur were always going to meet on Canal, considering that was in the legend. So I think Mordred was always destined to do what he was doing, and that's why I did that little smile at the very end when I get stabbed by Arthur, was that there was nothing else he could have done but do exactly what he was supposed to do. So he was pretty much handcuffed, metaphorically, to doing what he was doing. Wow. Yeah, that was intense for you, wasn't it? Blew your mind.
Is there a beauty about working in television that you can explore kind of different facets of the personality of the character because you've got more time?
Yeah, long-form drama,
Yes,
long-form drama always offers you options and possibilities of exploring your character. I mean, you got to do Cillian over 4 seasons.
Yeah, 4 seasons.
I think,
and it's a really strange one because you as much as you make choices and you develop the character, and there's a kind of weird mix of you have your ideas of where you think or who you think the character is, and then suddenly you get a script that you go, oh he does that, that's different. Okay, so you're kind of, as much as you're putting the then you're being given, someone else has a different idea. And I think with Leon, that's why I quite liked where my character came from, in the fact that I was only meant to be in a couple of episodes, and then it was, actually he's quite useful, and then it kind of developed very organically and nicely to a point that he's a much more important figure in Camelot. And so there's a few things that the writers by the end had our personalities, the little things that we brought, they managed to capture it and allowed us that freedom and silliness, and it's a nice mix of being emotionally inept and very good at fighting. I think as the kind of group of knights, in a way, there was that slight, that lovely thing of being.
I think long-form drama offers, not only does it offer you a chance to inhabit a character and explore different facets of their personality, but it also offers you a chance to discover who you are as a person as well. And depending on the role, obviously, but when I was doing Philippe for Versailles, it felt like I was that I didn't know where the character started and I ended, and sort of that blur, because you went over 3 seasons, you got to explore different aspects of the character's personality, but then it also offered you questions about, well, would I have done that? And do you know what I mean? So yeah, the long form drama is a great way, and hence why loads of now Hollywood stars are coming and it feels like they're not dropping down, but that's what they say, we're dropping down to do television, but that's why it's called the golden age of TV, because you've got people like Pacino doing a series, and you've got, you know, Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson doing True Detective, and, you know, big film stars dropping down to do television, because they get to explore, rather than a 2.5 hour movie, they get to explore 10 hours. In America, sometimes it's 26 episodes, isn't it? Sometimes half hour episodes. So yeah, it's the best way.
Is this quite an exciting time to be working in TV? You know, we've got series like Netflix and things like that. There's so many more kind of options now.
Exciting, but then also it feels like the pool's got even bigger, and the options are even more. You know, auditions are there's quite a lot of them, but it's spread so quite thinly, isn't it? It's a bit.
Yeah, it goes through kind of waves and finding. I think that's what you find as an actor. You're constantly shifting from playing different roles, and then you suddenly move into a different category or things. And suddenly, like for me, I did Merlin, they go, "Oh, that's what you do."
Yeah.
And sometimes you get pigeonholed, and you go, "Well, actually, this is what I've stumbled across, and I love doing this, but I can do other things." And then when you see these programs being made, I do think there's so much being made, and good things, and there always was, I think, but things are. The writing's great. I think, again, there's money. Big directors are doing telly, because then there's a money issue as well, because if that series goes, they always get money for that show, and then you get big actors doing that thing, and it does. I think there's something amazing about Netflix, and there's now a thing we can watch these shows that 5 years ago you'd hear about them, and the only way to watch them would be to try and download them, or hear one day they're going to come, or they'll put them on. BBC would schedule it at 2 a.m. or whatever it was. And it's like, you know, I love Seinfeld, which I know a comedy, but that was always in this country shown at 2 a.m. And then it's not until you either buy it on DVD or now it's on Netflix that you can watch all these brilliant things that were always there, but now more and more the best people are making TV. And I think it is great, and hopefully will be part of
more to come.
Is it interesting when you're working on long form that, you know, when you're working on a feature, you're working with one director with one vision, and then when you end up working in TV, there's often different directors working on each episode. So is that challenging to have to kind of, I suppose, adapt to their vision?
I think at the time for me, I don't mean to speak for Rupert, but for me it was always like you just get used to a director's style. And then just getting used to their, you know, you're into their 3-week shoot of their block, and you're just getting used to, oh, that's what they're looking for. Okay, get it. And then they're off. And then suddenly, oh, hello, you're the new person. Hello, come in. Yes. And oh, you're very different. Okay, wow. And then you just sort of get used to them. You know, we had like 4 directors. Justin did on season 5 of Merlin, and you know, and there's a quick turnaround as well. So you know, and every actor on every series has a favourite. You know, I really like that person. I didn't like him. You know, all this sort of stuff. Because styles are different. You know, yes, the end goal is to make the TV show that everyone loves, but they might be a technical director that, you know, that don't really know how to talk to actors. Some people are very actor orientated, and was that the helicopter?
Brilliant. That's the thing you don't mention. You pretend you haven't seen it.
Oh, I haven't seen it. So cut that out. Rewind. There you go. Put it back in the pocket. But yeah.
But I think you do have those, and I found it fascinating the different directors you get to work with and what they bring, and sometimes your favourite are producers' least favourite because they take more time with the actors and go
run over,
try and develop, and they're like, no, this is the schedule. But you're also, just like life, you meet people you connect with, and you meet people you don't connect with as much. But when you work with, there are people I would do anything for. You know, they'd phone and say, "Do you want to do this?" I'm like, "Yeah." "Do you want to read it?" "No." "I'll work with you." But I think sometimes you help develop a character, or they help you take a character down a different route, or some are more focused on the fight, some are more focused on. So there is a challenge, and I think it's good to keep, as an actor, you on your feet, because if you have the same person, then I think...
Yeah, there's no chance of getting complacent.
Yeah, and sometimes you can disagree, and the more you've been in something, you can go, well, I don't know, I think that it's a very... TV is a collaborative process, and I think it needs to continue to do that, to be. And sometimes you get egos, or people think they know more than... You hope that everyone at the top of the game in whatever role they fill. So you have to listen to people. Not always agree, but listen and collaborate. So.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you.
Is it just photos or?
Baby Mario, let's go! Yippee!
Pikachu, use Thunderbolt! Thunderbolt, Pikachu! Pikachu, use Thunderbolt! Over and over again.
Well, he says, the little bastard finally killed me.